The story begins with a guy talking about his life in Free City. He starts by talking about the people he calls heroes. These are sunglasses people who fall from the sky and have freedom to do anything as if laws are insignificant to them. Essentially, these are criminal activities, but he calls them heroes because perhaps for him, or at least in Free City, the definition of the word hero means something else. A hero is someone who has the freedom to do whatever they want. For him, their life is exciting. It's full of adventure and new things to do every day. This is in contrast to his mundane, regular life, although he has been programmed to love his routine. Guy wakes up, wishes his goldfish, has his morning cereal, gets dressed, goes out to buy a coffee, meets up with his security guard friend, and then goes to the bank, where he spends the entire day until it's time for him to return home. That's his routine, that's his programming. Yet he finds it fun doing it every day. After all, he is a computer program part of a video game. What makes him human like or relatable is that aspect of wanting more. The minor aspect is wanting those shoes he wants to buy, but unfortunately, the money in his bank account is never enough. But the major aspect is wanting to meet his soulmate, a specific kind of woman whose image is fixed in his head and he cannot take it out. He's happy living his boring life until he finally sees her. This woman who is wearing sunglasses is singing a specific song that he's been designed to like. He compliments it, and that's the spark that allows him to break his circuit routine. He goes after her. Unfortunately, while crossing a train track, a train hits him and kills him on that spot. But he's not dead. A digital character once killed returns to the last safe point, that is, in his bed in the morning. It's an interesting kind of life, if you might ask me. Sure, you might consider a computer program or a video game character to be just a thing, not a real person. But I would argue otherwise. Just consider that just how we have this inner voice we call consciousness or soul. What if the video game characters are conscious as well? At least this specific character guy we are talking about. A quick scientific sidetrack. There is a theory that believes our consciousness is nothing special. Our brain is nothing special. Our consciousness is just a byproduct of information flowing in our brain. Basically, because we are experiencing life, this experience allows us to be conscious. That's what science says. So, if we assume that to be true, we can also accept that these video game characters, if sufficiently defined, they could be conscious in their own right. Sure, their existence is in digital form, but can you really challenge their existence being any different than how we dream? When we are dreaming, we are asleep. Our body is not functioning. We are not taking any sensory input from outside. Everything is happening inside our head. The information that exists inside our head is fed to our specific parts of the brain that allow us to experience fantastical moments. We react to those moments, we remember those moments, we get all sorts of sensory input during those dream moments. We can see, hear, taste, touch, smell, even feel pain. It's as if we are living a temporary second life inside our head while we dream. Similarly, for this guy in the video game, it is a life, like a dream, sure, but it is a life indeed. As a matter of fact, his existence is much more realistic because his mind is not limited to his biological limitation. That's why, in addition to his sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, he gets a sensory awareness of a lot of things that happens in this video game world called Free City. That's why he can actually give a running commentary of a sunglass person falling from the sky, landing in a car, doing all sort of stunts while physically being in his room. It's quite fascinating to live like that because I believe in the far future, our video games won't be limited to just our visual or audio pleasures. We would actually be able to link up our brain with this video game simulation and experience the world firsthand. As fake as it might be, in that moment it would be very real, just like the life that we are living right now. But with an additional advantage. In video games, characters don't die. If we are living in a video game, then there won't be anything that would be life threatening. We might do the most deadly adventurous stuff, even the stuff that break the laws of science, and yet we will be able to survive it. But all this is too sci fi. Let's talk about simple stuff, the desire of wanting more. It's strange that even though we have humans and we have all the free will that we want, yet we have trapped ourselves in a boring, mundane routine. And just like this guy, we require an external influence and inspiration and a trigger to break away from our routine life and actually create memories, moments that are worth remembering. Perhaps that's why longing of this guy feels very relatable, and that's what becomes convincing enough in 5 minutes for us to accept him as the protagonist of this story. Although he might be portrayed as a fictional character of a video game in a movie, in our head he is very much real. And if he is a conscious being in a video game, then he is definitely as alive as we are. Physically, our existence might be different, but mentally, we are all the same. That is something to think about. Subscribe.